Bonjour everybody, welcome to Paris. It's Jacqui here. I'd like to welcome you all here today. It's very cold and windy and it's threatening to rain, so hopefully it won't rain while we're having our little talk. Today we're back in the same place we were on Friday, so I was in my quartier near 04may2021. In fact, I will show you where we were last week. We started off at Place 04may2021. You can't see it because there's a bus in the way. But behind that bus would be the Lion of Belfort, the statue that we were looking at when we first joined last week. Hello Jen, how are you? Thank you for coming. Okay, so we're on Rue Foidevaux. And just for Jen, because she would want to know this, my place is at the end of the street here. Okay, so back to where we are. This is Rue Foidevaux. That's heading down towards 04may2021. And if we turn around here, this is where we get to the cimetière Montparnasse. Okay. Now the Montparnasse cemetery is actually divided into two parts. There's the Petit Cimetière, which is over here. And as you can see, there's a big long wall which represents it going down the street here. And if we look on this side, this is the part we're going to enter into. So this is the big cemetery, the Grand Cimetière. Hello Anne, how are you? It's lovely to see you. And Judy's there as well. Hi Judy. Okay, so coming into the cemetery. Get past these trucks and everything, and then I can start talking again. How are you doing, Anne? I hope you're doing well. Okay, so I don't know if any of you have been to cemetery in Paris before, but they're a very interesting place to come. The history is just phenomenal. Okay, I'm going to come over here. This is a map of this particular cemetery and it shows you a lot of the notable graves. So if we pull back a little bit here, we just entered the gate here. So this is the entry to the little cemetery, which is this one here. And we are here in the big cemetery. Okay. Hi Judy. And you won't be able to see these, but obviously there's a big long list of, I'm trying to get some focus going on there we go, of famous people. Lots and lots of famous people. Who stands out for me? Emile Durkheim, Alfred Dreyfus, Charles Garnier, Serge Gainsbourg. I'm glad and I'm very pleased to see that you are well and that you're enjoying my my walks. Oh, I didn't mean to flip it around to me. You don't want to see me, do you? Right, who else do we have on this list? We have La Famille Jussieu, who have a lot to do with the Jardin des Plantes. We have Man Ray, who's a very famous photographer, painter. Guy de Maupassant is here. Henri Poincaré, Edgar Quinet, Camille Saint-Saëns, so yeah. Hello Thomas Lucquin, how are you today? Haven't seen you in a long time. Okay, so we're going to head off in this direction. We're actually on a bit of a mission getting through here because it's a big cemetery. It's not as big as Père-Lachaise. It's the second biggest cemetery in Paris. The difference between this one and Père-Lachaise, apart from the size of course, is the fact that it is relatively flat. In fact, it's almost entirely flat. We're on a bit of a decline here, but it's very easy to navigate. So if you really like exploring cemeteries, then this is a really good one to start with, because there are a lot of famous people here, and it's very easy to access, and it's very easy to navigate around. Saying that, the graves are very, very squished together, and sometimes if you know a general location of a grave, actually finding that grave is kind of difficult. But I guess that makes it part of the fun, really. It's kind of why we go. So just on the topic of my pilgrimage article the other day, some people might also want to do a pilgrimage in terms of searching for graves, which is always an interesting thing to do, especially if you're looking for celebrities who you really admire. Okay, so I'm trying not to move too much to give you all seasickness. Okay, I'm only going to show you a few notable graves as we go through, because I'm aiming to get to the other side of the cemetery and just show you out the other side to let you know how we're actually situated here. So I just showed before the Tour Montparnasse, which is over here. There we go, we get a better view of it there. And as I said last week, it's the only skyscraper within Paris itself. And it was, at the time it was built, in 1973 it was finished. It was the tallest building, or skyscraper, in France. Not counting the Eiffel Tower, of course. Of course it's not now. Thank you for adding that link on my article, Judy. Okay. So the thing about cemeteries, obviously, there's a lot to see, and if you want to go from one grave to another, it does take you a bit of time. Okay, so I took a photo of this one earlier. I really like a lot of these graves. I don't necessarily know who the people are, but they're really quite stunning. Just whether they're, beautifully sculpted, or the messages on them are really heartfelt. But there's a lot of them around, and I will post some photos of those. This here is the sepulchre for Baudelaire. I'm just going to show it from a distance. Baudelaire is also buried here. So that's his. And it started to rain, so I'm going to try and shuffle this through really fast. Another one of my favourite graves here is Alexander Lucquin, who was a chess champion. I won't have time to go to his grave because it's over another part, so it's kind of difficult to get to. But I'll post a photo of it. It's really amazing. So the way this cemetery is set out is in a very easy to navigate grid format, which is a lot different from Lachaise. And like I said, it's flat, which makes it so much easier. So we go to this central roundabout kind of place here, which we're coming up to. Okay, I'm going to go sober so you can see some of these graves. The trees are beautiful at the moment. There's still some in blossom, but they're getting very thick, and yes, it hasn't quite started raining yet, but I think we'll be okay. There are a lot of famous, not only writers, but politicians and sculptors. There was a big sculpting community. Well, Montparnasse was known for all of its artists. So but there are a lot of notable sculptors here too, and some of them have the most amazing tombs. Some of it's strange, but some of them quite beautiful at the same time. Can someone tell me, is that mistletoe up there? Look at this enormous grey cloud we have. Okay. First notable grave I'm going to come to is just here. Strasbourg, who were the parents of Serge Gainsbourg. I think Serge Gainsbourg is a bit of an acquired taste. You either love him or despise him. But I know he's a national hero, so it's important to note him. There is another grave I want to go and visit here, but there's somebody visiting there, so I won't go there right now. What I did want to show you over here, okay, I'll tell you a bit of the history of this place. It used to be farmland, and it belonged to the Frères de Charité, the Brothers of Charity, and this was around the mid-1600s. When the revolution happened, the land was reclaimed, and it was eventually turned into the cemetery. And the reason that they turned all this into a cemetery was because it has something to do with the catacombs. Of course, the catacombs were big empty quarries, and what they wanted to do was move all of the people that were buried out of Saint Innocence Cemetery, which was right next to Les Halles. And Les Halles, obviously the food area of town, and they didn't want all these dead bodies there, so they moved them out and they put all the bones in the catacombs, which is what you can see at d'Enfer Rochereau now. But they needed somewhere else to start putting graves. So at this time, we were actually, where we are standing now was just outside of Paris. So they selected big areas outside of Paris. They had Père Lachaise in the east, and they had Montparnasse here, and they had Montmartre up in the north, and Passy over in the west. So those were the main cemeteries that they established in order to bury people outside the city. But of course the city is spread out. What I'm trying to get to at the moment is the windmill. I didn't know this windmill was here, and it's very difficult to see from here, unfortunately. I think we just saw a little bit of it before. I don't think I can get to it from there. Sorry, it's very tricky to get to. I don't want to be disrespectful, that the gentleman over there is actually at the Jacques Chirac's grave. So I will just, that's basically where it is anyway, if anybody was planning on going to find that one. Okay, so anyway, I will post a photo of the windmill, but it's just over here, and there's lots of digging and stuff going on here, so I don't really want to go down there. It'll be a bit too noisy, and we're running out of time as per usual. So let's quickly zoom down this way. Okay, like I said, there's lots of really interesting graves. There's this beautiful set of hands here. So you've got beautiful things like that everywhere. Who else did I see? Juliette Greco, the singer, died last year, and she was buried here. So her grave is over in this general direction here. Another grave that I just stumbled upon accidentally. I was going to visit Emile Durkheim's grave, which is over in the Jewish section, which is over in this corner of the cemetery, far over in that corner. And right next to it I stumbled across the family Val, and there was, the hands are beautiful, yes Judy, they are, aren't they? So I came across the grave of Simone Val, who died, someone can help me with that, was it 3 years ago, 4 years ago? It's definitely since I've been in Paris anyway. But then of course after she died, she was moved to the Pantheon. So that's obviously a great honour. So she was moved from her family's grave and moved over to the Pantheon. Recently, that was a few years ago. I think it was 2018. I could be wrong, but I remember it was not long after we first moved to France. Right, the rain is here, which is kind of timely. This is Marie Bastier. She was an aviatrice, commander of the Legion d'Honneur. I don't think you can see that, can you? It's a beautiful grave. Tomb. Okay. And it looks like there is a cemetery, a funeral taking place here, so I hope we don't interrupt it. Okay. So we're coming up to the entrance here. Yes, Simone Veil Pantheon, that's the one, Judy. So yes, she was originally buried here, just along this way, which we won't go into because we don't have time. Just trying to see if we can get some light. I hope you can see the light's not ideal. It's not sunny today, but there's a lot of glare. Okay. Yes, there's a funeral going on here, so I need to be careful. So this exit here comes out on Avenue Jacqui, right next to the metro station. Okay. And I'm just going to pop over here. The last grave I'm going to show you. Sorry it's so brief, because obviously there's a lot to see, but it's just a bit of a quick wander through. Hopefully it will inspire you to come visit yourself sometimes. It's a very tranquil place to come. Okay, this is a grave of Jean-Paul Sartre and his partner Simone de Beauvoir. Lots of kisses. It's very reminiscent of Oscar Wilde's grave at Père Lachaise. Okay. This cemetery is enormous. It is quite big. It is really big. This is obviously, we've just gone from one side to the other. We haven't actually gone into the width of it and the depth of it and how compact it is. It's quite incredible. Just for practical purposes, they do have toilets in cemeteries, which is fantastic. So if you need to go, then yeah, it's very, very convenient. Okay, so we're just going to head out here and I'm going to round off. But before we do, I'll just give you insight into where we are now. So this is Avenue Jacqui. This is the entrance from this way. This is the main entrance. And if we go into the middle of the street here, without getting run over, I would have loved to have taken you on a little walk around this area here, because this is the cool part of Montmartre. So we have the Tour Montparnasse here, and if you can see down here, this is where they have a marketplace, which doesn't run today. I think it runs on Thursdays and on a Saturday, I think. But not next week, I keep getting the dates wrong. Judy, when you come here, when you come back, you need to come here. It's very, very cool. So yeah, I keep getting the dates wrong, but of course the 19th of May is when the terrace is open, which we're all excited about. Yes. And I would very much like to do a live video from one of the cafes, probably just over here on Boulevard Montparnasse. There's a lot of very, very famous cafes from the 20s and the 30s, and I love them, and I hope that we could do that sometime. So I'm going to finish up now. Thank you for joining me. Sorry it was a bit rushed, but I hope that inspires you to come and see, or come and see it yourself, or investigate other people who you might want to visit one day at the cemetery. Take care, and we'll see you next week. I won't be here Friday, but I'll be here the following week. Okay? Thank you very much. Thanks for everyone for joining me. Bye.